Hi there, ladies and gentlemen. You've reached Beery Good Entertainment. This is Beery Good Entertainment number 21. Our political, controversial, current events, non-apologetic. We will say whatever we please, how we please, when we please. I am Sorcerer Zero, and I'm here with my very good friend Lola Laracy.
And guess what? Guess what? Between the two of us, we have 3 vaginas.
We have 3 vaginas.
You don't hear that said every day.
No, not at all. Not at all.
So, yeah. One glorious vagina right there, and then, well, 2 other, I would say, glorious vaginas. I mean, I'm not trying to toot my own vaginal horn or anything.
Well, I've never seen it. I've never seen it in person, but I'm pretty sure that you have a beautiful vagina.
Glory. That's.
I know I love my vagina.
It's awesome. I mean, I can't physically love it because I'm not agile like that, but I do think it's quite nice. Anyways, I'm okay. How are you?
I'm pretty good, but I am ready for another beer, which is, one of the cornerstones of Very Good Entertainment. Just before we start into our political discussion, because this week we are going into current events.
Right, and
Nasty,
we may be dead in 2 weeks.
Ugly, oh my God, current events. So, what do you do you still have your terrapin in your glass?
Just a little bit, but that's okay. I can drink that later. I can drink my the one I just pulled out of the refrigerator.
Show us what you've got. Oh my goodness.
And you know what? I actually did not mean this to jive so well, but sometimes these connections happen without me even knowing it. I am going to show you my dirty little freak.
Oh, snap. Please do. Please do. Oh my God.
Sponsored by. No.
Look at that. Sponsored by. We're not sponsored by them, but it is.
No. But I've been.
Duclaw has got a beautiful way of writing their words.
Yes.
On their bottles, like this purplish bottle label, and then dirty, like the R's are backwards and upside down, and it's a label.
It's almost like someone scratching it on the wall, like you're in the throes of whatever, and you're trying to scratch it, but you're all turned around because it's so great, and you just do the R backwards, and you're like, ugh, I can barely write this on the wall because I'm having so much fun. So yeah, dirty little freak. Huh?
What kind of beer is it?
It is. I should know this, but I don't think I'll know. Ale brewed with vanilla beans and natural flavors added. Well, I'm glad they're natural flavors. I prefer natural.
You had me at vanilla.
Yes, and I just looked at the side of their bottle at their little writing, and this might be a little controversial. I'm not sure about this, but they put there is no safe word. I'm just gonna say there should always be a safe word.
There should always be a safe word.
There should always be Duclaw.
Yes.
There is always a safe word, and no is the first safe word. No.
That's right. That's right. No is a great safe word.
That is a great safe word. I don't care if the person says no, they say no. I don't care if you think they mean something else. No is no. But the rest of their writing says, respect the fluid. Duclaw. Nasty.
Hey, come on. Liquidation is great.
I do. I respect the fluid. Highly respect. Very good fluid. It says a dominant blend of roasted malt, coconut, caramel, and chocolate essences. I like how they say essences. Barely restrained by a gentle hop bite that tantalizes your senses all the way through to a satisfying finish. Submit to indulgence, but be warned, there is no safe word. Once again, there's always a safe word.
Safe word.
The views of Duclaw
sounds like a dessert beer. It sounds like you're going to have this bottle for dessert. Is it?
I think so.
Have you had it before?
I have, but my memory is not what it used to be. I remember I liked it. So
okay, so we'll see if it blows your mind this time.
Exactly. I'm sure it'll be a very tantalizing experience. I will probably melt from the inside. So,
and if anybody is wondering about all these wonderful references,
should we talk about our sponsor right now? We haven't talked about them tonight.
We should at least mention them. I mean,
that's a good idea.
I am pretty proud of Good Vibrations, who is our sponsor.
I am very happy about them. I've been using them for 20 years.
And you know what? This is an unapologetic show, and we are unapologetic. We are unapologetic when we say that people should be proud of their sexuality
and their preferences and their predilections, and
that's right.
You know, as long as everyone is consensual.
Yes,
I have to put that in there.
Be consensual, even in your RPG non-consensual. That's the safe word, and
And you may play, you may have the role play, but underlying there needs to be a mature understanding of what the limits are.
Exactly.
That's a big thing. There's a difference between fantasy and reality, and there is a safe word always. And the safe word is coconut.
Coconut.
Oh my God, this is coconut heaven. This is like someone open a coconut, and I'm going to say it again. I'm motorboating it. I am.
Is it like a macaroon kind of? Oh, the face.
This is my O face. This coconut is giving me my O face.
I got that. I'm going to save that face for eternity.
Good. This is it. Now I'm on an island. I'm just letting you know right now, I'm no longer here. I am on an island. Probably in Hawaii or some Polynesian island. And I am just relaxed and melting into the sand, and no one can do any harm to me. No one can harsh my vibe, not even the mother of all bombs. But anyways, so we're going to pour coconut. We're going to pour this. If this had to be my last beer, I think I would be okay with it. Very nice. Not much of a head, but that's okay.
Rich. It looked like the darkness of it is so beautiful.
It does look very rich. It's got a little bit of a head, not too much, more than the coffee beer I had. It's got lots of little bubbles on the side. Can you see the little bubbles?
I see the little bubbles.
Lots of nice little bubbles. It's a dark brown. It's not see-through like some of the other beers. I can't see you through it.
It looks black to me.
Mm-hmm.
Does it look
dark brown? It's like dark brown. Yeah, dark brown, and not see-through at all. Very dense, very dark. It looks like there's a lot going on. And if it tastes anything like it smells, it's going to be awesome, because oh my God, the smell was like sweet coconut, like coconut drink, like it's a coconut freaking drink. I still get the coconut, but I also get malt. A healthy dose of malt and maybe a little bit of chocolate. This smells delicious. This smells like coconut cream pie. That's what it smells like.
Which coconut cream pie? Sorry. Go ahead.
You know what? It's all delicious and it's all good. Very coconut, very effervescent. It's speaking of, we were talking about Unibrew in our last show. One of the things about Unibrew is it's extremely effervescent. I mean, like just bubbles upon bubbles.
Lots of carbonation.
Very bubbly, extremely bubbly. It like pops on my tongue. Pop, pop, pop. Little bits of carbonation. It's not quite as dense as I would have thought, but that's okay. Once again, it's an ale. It's not a stout. So it looks kind of like a stout, but it's not. It's still just it's an ale. So it is a little thinner than you might think by looking at it, but it's very good. I definitely get the coconut, strong coconut, a little bit of chocolate, a tiny hint of vanilla. I think the vanilla is what makes it seem like a coconut cream pie. It seems a little bit creamy, probably from the vanilla, but it's definitely good. I am a fan.
So, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the strongest, where is the sweet factor?
I would say a 7 because it's not like the creme brulee I had the other night, the Southern Tier.
Yeah.
When you drink the Southern Tier creme brulee, it's really like you got caramelized sugar on your tongue. I mean, it's just like Willy Wonka would be like, I'm done, I'm out. That's how sweet the creme brulee is. This, I mean, you get the coconut and a little bit of the cream, but it's not like sweet. It's not sweet, sweet, sweet. It's sweet enough. It's sweet enough to where you're like, okay, it would go well with dinner. It's not. It doesn't have to be relegated to dessert. It can stand. It can stand during a dinner also. I would say, especially if you're having like pork or some kind of like dark meat, I think it would be really good with that.
Oh, very nice.
Some kind of caramelized meat or something.
Well, you're making me drool here. I'm gonna have to wipe my mouth.
You have a pretty lipstick. It's going. Goodbye, lipstick. Goodbye.
Oh.
Oh, it was nice to know you, lipstick.
Well, I definitely have a specialty item today.
Okay.
Flat Tail actually made a very, very limited series, and I was able to get one of the very last bottles of this. Flat Tail makes a series called Damn Wild.
Okay.
And Damn Wild, I believe, either partnered with or made this in honor of Belmont Station, which is it's a beer store in Portland.
Mm-hmm.
And all the Damn Wilds are wild sours.
That's beautiful.
I have not tried this. This is not like the pink peppercorn. I have not tried this at all. It's the 20th anniversary Belmont Station Sour Ale.
That looks very nice.
If anyone loves the funky stuff as much as we do, it's our buds at Portland Premier Beer Store and Bar, Belmont Station. I guess that's probably why they asked us to brew this special little number for them. We've taken our Damn Wild sour blonde base and fermented it with 20 different specialty ingredients for each incredible year Belmont Station has served its happy customers.
I like that. Very nice.
That was very nice of them.
Okay.
Let's see. I think I'm going to have it in this glass. This glass is great for sours. Yep, definitely that classic blonde. Almost no head. Looks pretty effervescent. Well, tiny little head. Looks very effervescent. Fruit.
Good.
I'm smelling raspberry.
Okay.
I'm smelling raspberry. Most of the Damn Wilds do seem to have that same. It's a very typical wild yeast type smell that reminds me of raspberry, even if there's no raspberry in it.
Very tart.
Very tart.
Okay.
Whatever yeast they're using, I'm not sure if it's an in-house yeast. I believe it is. Okay. But it is really fantastic.
Nice.
Woo! Okay, well, this is not curl your tongue up, but it is definitely a balance of sweet and sour that makes me very, very happy.
Good. Sometimes you don't want that Jolly Rancher taste.
Oddly enough, it reminds me of candy.
Okay.
Like there used to be in the 80s, there was a peach candy. And I can't remember the name of it. I'll have to look it up. This reminds me peaches, raspberries, and then the sour kind of floats along your tongue.
Okay.
It's not super sour, it's not super fruity. It's really, I hate to use the word well balanced.
Well, I think I know what you're going for, because sometimes sour beers like that, the sour just like numbs everything else. It's just, you've just got that tart taste, and it's almost like you've just, OD'd on Kool-Aid, and you're like, whoa, and you can't taste anything else but tart. But it sounds like
exactly. I've tasted a few of those, and this isn't it. This is a little, this is a little left of sour.
Okay.
It's got enough sour so that you're definitely tasting a sour ale, but it's definitely got that fruity, leaning towards candy-like taste to it.
Okay.
I think this is like an aperitif kind of beer.
Okay.
Have this when somebody first walks in the house, like maybe a smaller glass than this. I'm pretty bold when it comes to.
Oh, like a sort of a appetizer. Like if you're having a beer tasting, just a little like pre-cleanser. It's like, oh, taste this, and they're like, oh, I like that, and they perk up a little bit. Oh,
yeah. It's definitely a really great taster just before you start serving food.
Okay, I like that. That's a good idea.
Or before you start serving heavy ideas.
Oh yeah, which we're going to be serving before you serve depression. And fear.
Well, I don't know about depression. I mean, so I was thinking about today's show.
Mm-hmm.
And I decided to go across the street and talk to some friends, and
good.
I was sitting there collecting my thoughts, and another guy sat down beside me.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "Oh, it looks like you're getting." Because I was doing my hair, trying to get it all up. And he said, "Oh, you're doing your podcast today." And I said, "Yep."
Nice.
Going to work just like you today.
Yep.
Oh yeah. And then he started talking about his job.
Mm.
And he started telling me what, that he wasn't as concerned with Trump as he was more concerned about the fact that the person who designed the lawnmower he has to use was a complete and utter moron.
Alrighty then.
Every 2 minutes, this man has to shut off the lawnmower, lift it up, clear out the bottom of the lawnmower,
Ooh.
and flick out both sides and lower the lawnmower, start it, and go again.
That would PO me too.
Okay, and he has to go for like 4 hours at a time with this bloody lawnmower.
Because when I do the lawn, it already takes 2 hours, and that's with only having to change it out like a third of the way through.
So I could see where this kind of makes life a little unbearable for him.
I could see that.
So that's what's important to him. He doesn't seem to be as concerned with some things as we do. That's what was important to him. So it's weird. I start thinking about what's been crossing my mind in the past couple of weeks. And I felt kind of shallow.
Oh no.
Hair, makeup, beer. Now, food isn't so shallow. Linux operating system is is kind of a cornerstone. I've been really concentrating on that. So that's a pretty hefty idea. And open source is a good idea. but most of my thoughts during the past week or two seem to have been pretty shallow. I haven't really been thinking about other people other than myself. So I feel a little ashamed. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. I think about that too. There's some people, like on Facebook. I think everybody has those friends who only post political stuff. And after a while of reading their posts, I want to, I don't know, take pills or do something. I want to jump into a lake and never come out. I can't live like that. I already have depression and anxiety. And I think I may have Asperger's syndrome too, but that's for another day. I can't live in that dark space all the time. If I do, I will die. And someone might argue, well, the people in Syria have no choice. I know, and that is horrible, and that is wicked, and that breaks my heart. But I can't do anything. I mean, I can do some things, but I can't, even if I dedicated my life 24 hours a day to helping them, I still couldn't help them the way they need help. And I would probably die in the process because, as I just said, I already have depression and anxiety. Mm-hmm. So I have to mitigate it. I have to still keep my life going somewhat. I still need my hobbies. I still need my distractions and my writing and everything. And, I try really hard not to feel bad about it. I mean, I understand that ultimately, whether Doctor Who, comes back tonight or next year, and whether Peter Capaldi comes back or not, has no great bearing on the world at large. But, there's a place in my mind for it, and so I will always keep track of things like that. We're human. We can't live in darkness all the time. And unfortunately, there may be a time when we don't have a choice because we've dropped a bomb and there's a chance that we may be going to war with one or more entities at some point. And so that choice may be made for us. But for now, this is sort of like the light before the darkness, the peace before the storm. I'm going to drink my beer and think about comics and makeup and pray to God that we don't get into a conflict that we can't handle.
Mm-hmm. That sounds like actually a pretty bloody good idea. Now, the strike, you're talking about the strike against Syria, right?
Well, we've had two things. Okay, we had the strike, a military strike against Syria, which was surprising enough. I was like, where that came out of left field. And then we dropped a bomb on ISIS in Afghanistan. So we've had two military actions in the last week or two or whatever.
Okay, now I know it's going to sound weird coming from pacifist Linda. Mm-hmm. The strike in Syria actually made tactical sense to me.
And you've been in the military. I haven't. So you actually have a leg up on this. So I want to hear what you think.
I think actually striking that particular target was tactically sound.
Okay.
The way it happened was not appropriate.
Okay.
Warning an ally of somebody a couple hours before you say, we're going to do this. No, not cool. Not cool at all. But, targeting a military target, that's actually a good thing. We're just going to flat out make sure that at least for a little while, you don't have access to some of your equipment that you use to enact these horrors.
Right. So it's meant to hinder. Maybe it's not enough to wipe out, but hinder. And that's good.
Exactly. It's more of a message. It's more of an appropriate message than, definitely going in and wiping out a wedding.
No. And we have been in positions where we've done things like that. And I don't want that.
Yeah. And, countries wiping out areas where Red Cross is operating. No, that's not cool either.
No, it's not. People trying to help people.
Yeah. Because you're causing innocence. Now, I didn't read up on the actual bomb. So tell us about that.
Well, there are a series of caves in Afghanistan where the United States military believes that ISIS had been operating. And out of nowhere, while our president was eating dinner and dessert at his Florida resort, our military dropped the largest non-nuclear weapon we have that has never been used in combat. We dropped it on this site. 90 militants were killed. As far as I know, I think that no civilians were killed in this. I could be wrong, and God knows I'm been getting the stories mixed up. I don't think civilians were killed. I hope not. But yeah, they wiped out a big ISIS compound, and I don't like ISIS. I understand. It's just out of nowhere. It's like, wait, we did what? And he did this without any congressional input. I mean, he just did this all on his own. It's like a whim. It's like, well, let's do this. It's like, what? And some of the articles I've read actually suggest that he's given so much power to the different military divisions that he doesn't know what's going on. He just says, do it. Just do what you want to do. So it's frightening. It's like, we have all these different military branches making these decisions, and there's a reason that there's a balance of power. You have the military and the civilian. There's a reason that that's there, so that the civilians can maybe weigh in on any political fallout that this might have, any diplomatic fallout. But it seems like we don't have that. We just have people dropping bombs, and it's like, crap. And I mean, not only do we have this, but we also have North Korea making noise. And we pissed off Russia with the Syria thing. And Russia's already pissed off. I'm just like, who aren't we pissing off? We pissed off Australia a few months ago. So who aren't we pissing off?
Okay, now I'm conflicted about North Korea.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like one leader goes, there are three more to step into their place. I don't want to hurt civilians.
No.
But I mean, and I don't know what news coming out of North Korea to trust, except it seems like there are a lot of North Koreans that are being oppressed and downtrodden against their will. And God, as an American, I hate that.
Me too.
But at the same time, I don't know where my responsibility as a human being lays. I would love to go in and rescue. They need their freedom and blah, 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 but that's, do we really have the right to do that? Now, North Korea displaying its freaking nuclear weapons. The New York Times actually had a story on this. North Korea showing off its nuclear weapons in a parade.
Yeah.
That's disgusting. That is really disgusting to me. The F, dude. You just, that's really blatant. Now, you go ahead and do one more test, and our president says he's going to whoop your ass. I don't think the UN is behind this. I really don't think the UN has gotten behind this. Do you?
Behind us showing aggression?
Behind us showing aggression to North Korea for doing a nuclear weapons test?
Probably not. I think it's another case where our military is just doing what our military does, because I do know that we have several ships over there now. So they're I don't know if they're in North Korean waters or South Korea, or South Korean waters, but they're over there ready to do something if need be. My big concern is,
I was going to say, do what? What are you going to do with a bunch of ships? If they send a nuclear missile, the only thing that's going to counter that nuclear missile are all our missiles that are still in the United States that have to be launched from missile silos. Okay, you can go ahead and shoot something from a sub and maybe get a few shore parts. What you're going to count on something major happening is a big ass missile being shot across the world, hitting the target. I don't think North Korea has any way to stop those big ass nightmare missiles.
Okay.
But do we really want to destroy that many civilians in a strike?
I certainly don't want to.
Sorry, they make a nuclear test or a nuclear strike. What are we going to do to them? Either we're all in and we're in it to win it, or we're just kind of waving our arms around like one of those inflatables.
Yeah, exactly. Like, don't do that. We don't like that posturing. More posturing.
And neither is acceptable to me. I don't want to hit civilians. I don't want to get into a battle. I don't want to get into a war. But I'm not exactly into the politics of it either. North Korea won't come to the table.
No. They're not party players. They're not team players. They never have been.
Have we tried any serious assassination attempts here? Is that even a possibility? Can we like
it seems like if we put our mind to it we could, but that would be a CIA thing or an NSA thing or whatever, and I don't want it to sound like we're advocating murdering anybody. We're not. But God knows North Korea has done enough assassinating on their own. But yeah, I don't know.
That it's a really rough situation. Not wanting to hurt other people, and yet understanding that there are tactical necessities that have to happen if North Korea starts, getting its buck on.
Well, and not only that, but this all stems from Kim Jong-un and the government. He's like a child with a lot of toys. And he has been raised to just want to show off, show his plumage. And he is the one putting his people in danger because he's putting them in this position. So one could look at it that way. Not that I'm saying we wouldn't feel guilt if anything happened to those people, but it starts with him. He's the one putting his nation in danger by doing all this for no reason. No one's messing with North Korea. No one's trying to get into North Korea. South Korea is fine on their own. South Korea is like, you know what, we're cool. Leave us alone. This is all North Korea aggression. And so he's the one who is putting them in this position. And while I'm not a fan of the U.S. coming in and trying to, make everything right and try to wipe out all evil and everything, if they do something towards South Korea, and I mean, if they do have an act of aggression that actually kills people, then I think we'll have to. I mean, I think that would be World War III. I really do.
I don't know if it'd be World War III. I mean, if we seriously had to go to war against North Korea, it's only 46,000 square miles. And South Korea is only 38,000 square miles. To either one of those tiny little nations would be catastrophic for both of them.
Right.
It would be catastrophic for the Korean people as a whole.
Yeah.
But I understand that there has to be a line There has to be a line in the sand. There has to be a line in the sand that other nations say, you cannot cross here because next you'll be coming for us. And unfortunately, lately, the United States has not shown a lot of willingness to draw those lines. I mean, we wound up with President Trump, who himself is a toddler child, lots of toys,
A lot
and
like him.
attitude. I can guarantee he understands, he understands military tactics far less than his advisors do.
I think so too. I read an article where when he was sitting with President Z, I don't know how it's pronounced, but XI from China, and he was in his Florida club. And
Mar-a-Lago.
Mar-a-Lago. I don't even know how to say it. I have no idea. That's the other side of Florida. We don't claim it. But anyways, his reaction was, we were having a big, beautiful chocolate dessert. That's what he said about it. Yeah. He talked big, beautiful chocolate dessert. That's what he talked about when these. Now I'm getting mixed up. I can't remember if that was when the strike on Syria happened or the bomb on Afghanistan. That's another issue I'm having. We're doing way too much at one time. I'm getting confused. I mean, I know we had the strike on Syria, the bomb on Afghanistan, and not to mention there was a U.S.-led coalition that struck Syria that actually killed refugee seekers and rebels who were on our side. So
yes, and that is not tactically sound. Killing civilians is not tactically sound unless those civilians happen to be on a military target.
Even then, I don't like it.
No, I don't like it. I mean, I understand the theory of acceptable losses.
Yeah.
Anything outside of a military target to prevent the enemy from doing, and I hate that word, enemy.
Yeah.
Because the United States starts telling us who we should consider an enemy.
And then we're North Korea, we're Russia. That's
every Syrian is a terrorist. No, that's not true. Now, I mean, I came across a meme that Steve Jobs' dad was a Syrian. Is that true? Do you know if that's true?
I don't know.
I don't know if that's true. No idea. But it's equally possible that a lot of our influential business people do have family from Syria.
The lady at my grocery store.
Does that make them terrorists too?
According to Wikipedia, that is true. But that's awesome. That's great. But the lady at the grocery store, I was behind the line, and there's a lady who works the register at the grocery store. She's a really nice lady. I like her a lot. And she was having a conversation with the people about Passover and Easter. And she said, "Oh, my religion is Greek Orthodox, but my ancestry is Arabic." And my thought was, cool. Other people's thoughts might have been, what? I went, cool. I was like, I mean, I wanted to ask her. Of course, you don't really have time during a grocery store transaction, but I wanted to ask her. It's like, well, how did your family come from, say Muslim or whatever to Greek Orthodox? I think that's interesting. But, we didn't have time for that. But I just thought it was cool. I was like, oh, okay. So, but because her family is Arabic, I'm not going to say she's a terrorist. She's a very nice lady who works the register at the grocery store. Very nice.
See, that's just this is a person. This is the problem, is that a lot of our interactions are starting to turn into, we're not seeing people from different countries as people.
Right.
And that seriously disturbs me. That disturbs me no end. I can count on the fact when I go into Beer 30 that every single bartender there looks at every single person who walks in the bar, and their only concern is that they're over 21.
Yeah, and I understand that.
Over 21, great. Come on up, have a drink. If you behave yourself, you can stay.
Mm-hmm.
Jewish, no problem. Muslim, we don't care.
Atheist, pagan,
Atheist, agnostic, on the
Jedi.
fence, Jedi.
It's all good.
We love you, and we're going to serve you no matter what you are.
Mm-hmm.
But then I have seen, strangely enough, in my own community, I have seen people who have said, oh, well, if, a Muslim comes in here claiming to be a Muslim, I'm not going to serve them.
And that's horrible.
In other stores. But you don't understand, these are just people. You're not in Syria. You're not being bombed. These are people.
Right.
They just want to live. They want to come in. They want to buy some food or buy some paint or buy some hardware or have a beer or whatever.
Yeah.
That's it. And we need to look at people from Syria. All people from Syria, people, not targets, not terrorists.
And most of them, they're terrified, just like we would be in that position. They want to get out, and they're trying to get out. We have thousands of Syrian refugees who are trying to get out, and they're in France, they're in Turkey, they're all over Europe, but not in the United States because we don't want them here. But yet, for some reason, our president did an about face and said, "Oh, those beautiful Syrian babies. We have to avenge their deaths." And I'm like, where were you a few months ago when they were trying to board airplanes to come over here?
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah. What?
You're talking about
all those beautiful Syrian babies with their Syrian moms and dads.
Right. They might still be alive if he'd let them get on those planes and come over here. But he did the travel ban, and he said, no, we're not letting any Syrians in ever. Yeah.
And then automatically we start seeing other people as terrorists too. This is, first they came for these people, then they came for those people, then they came for us.
Right.
That still holds true.
It does.
Eventually it'll get to
come
you.
For us. Mm-hmm.
And some of us who lived in, the 80s are still fairly nervous of a nuclear bomb being exploded in our faces.
I remember the day after. I remember being terrified that a bomb, at this point, we thought it was coming from Russia, which it still may. Who knows? We pissed them off too. But yeah, I remember that feeling.
I'm still in favor of reducing the nuclear population.
I am too.
And yes, if North Korea does not fall into line with this, separating from the nuclear culture, from the nuclear bomb culture, we and other countries need to get together to force them to do it.
Yeah.
But we need to do it together. We can't just be over there, USA, beer and pussy and freedom and guns. It's not right that it's just us.
I think there was something. Now, my brain is getting mixed up, but there was like a nuclear, I can't remember the name of it, but Unprolification Act from several years ago, and we were the only ones who didn't sign it.
That wasn't part of the Paris Accord, was it? Because we've broken the crap out of the Paris Accord.
I think it might have been.
Oh my God.
I can't remember. Maybe we can outsource some of this to our chat, because I can't remember. But there was like an accord to take down our nuclear arsenals, and we didn't sign it.
Yeah, Cybernaut says that he lives smack in the middle of a community of Vietnamese. Most of the families have been here since the mid-'60s, early 70s. They're all great people.
Yeah, they're wonderful people.
Yeah.
And
I mean, come on. If you come across a Vietnamese person in the store and somebody who is hyper-focused on terrorism, how are they going to view this person walking around the store with them? If you're hyper focused on terrorism and you treat that person as a terrorist, you are wrong.
And you want to know something really frightening? I was listening to NPR the other morning, and this man was talking, and I thought, this man is making so much sense. I love this guy. He said he wanted to help refugees because if we don't help them, it will help the radical cause, because the radicals will come to them and say, America didn't want to help you, but we'll help you. I was like, right on, dude. And then the NPR presenter came in and said, that was George W. Bush.
Oh my God.
And I went, hell has frozen over. Yep. I was like listening, because this guy was speaking for a long time, and I was thinking, God, he kind of sounds like George Bush. But he was so well spoken, so articulate, and so just right on with his ideas and his views. And I was like, this dude sounds damn right presidential. And then the NPR representative came on and said, that was George W. Bush, speaking from the George W. Bush Library. And I went, all right, we are at the end of the world, because I just thought really good stuff about George Bush. And that goes to show you how far we are removed from the last decade. Because decade...
Did I just see a pig fly by?
Right. And it had a vagina on its chest.
Yes.
That's how far out of the realm of normal we are. Because if you'd asked me 10 years ago, I would have been like, I hate George Bush. I hate him. Now I'm like...
Even people who make no sense when they're president can still make sense in other contexts.
Mm-hmm.
Their actions might falsify their words later on. But we should remember those actions and those words in these separate contexts.
Yeah, I hope I can find a link to that interview, because it was wonderful. I was like, who the hell? What the hell just happened? I'm like, just to hear him say what I've been thinking, it's like, this is how you radicalize people. If you turn your back.
That's very true, and I totally agree with that. But not only that, if you ignore these small communities, they can be taken advantage of, just like in in Car in Africa, where young men are snapped up, given weapons, and said, "You're now a warrior for our cause.
Children soldiers.
Do it, or we will kill you, and we will kill your entire family. Make no mistake, we will just destroy your entire family if you do not fight for us."
In many ways, they're forced into this. They're taken as children, and they're indoctrinated into this, and they don't know any better. They're molded into this.
Yeah.
So, I mean, ultimately, I think the problem stems from above, from social issues. I don't want to blame the child soldier or the person who doesn't seem to have many choices. It's either die or do what you're told. I want to blame, well, obviously in this case we blame Assad, because he is the one who chemically assaulted his citizens. But I also want to put a little responsibility on the people who let this get to the point. Maybe they could have done something else. I mean, there's always something that can be done to prevent things from happening.
And then how about the people who say it's not our responsibility to handle what happened in Syria or what happens in Africa? How do you respond? How do you respond to that? We should just stay in our borders and leave the rest of the world alone.
Well, the funny thing is, that's almost a bipartisan sentiment because there are two different ways of looking at it. The conservative way of looking at it is America first. Everyone else be damned. We'll take care of ourselves and no one else. But then there's what I think is the more liberal way of viewing it, that, it's not our place to waltz into other people's lives and tell them the way to live. That comes from imperialism. Back when Britain decided to conquer the world, and, that's how we got the United States of America. That's how we got Australia, Canada, India for a while. And so there are a lot of people who don't want us to go out and tell people what to do because it's a form of imperialism. I'm of the camp who does not want us to be imperialist. We screw up everything we try to do. When we go into these countries, like Afghanistan and Iraq, we try to press our views onto already existing cultures, and it doesn't work that way. It's not like one of those things where you can make a square go into a circle. It just doesn't work. Now, I do want to intervene when it becomes to the point where we just have to, because it's a worldwide threat, such as like World War II. Yes, mm-hmm. I mean, we had to go in, and I'm very glad we did. It's very difficult to say because the humanitarian in me wants to go and help everybody. I want to help everybody. But when we go into one place versus another, there's usually some ulterior motive. Like, say we're going into Iraq. It's probably because of oil and not humanitarian reasons.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah. So if we were doing it purely out of the goodness of our hearts, then sure, I'd probably be on board. But I know that there are almost always ulterior motives, and that things aren't going to play out the way we would want them to play out. And also, there's bad everywhere. Why are we going into one place and not the other?
So, if we're going into an area with an ulterior motive,
mm-hmm.
say, I don't know, say Syria had a mine we really wanted.
Yeah.
Just as an example.
Yeah.
Say Syria had a mine we really wanted.
Mm-hmm.
How do we snap our government back so that they are not doing the harm? Is it a case of attempting to get our representatives to tell the government, look, we don't need that resource? Or simply telling our representatives to get the government to realize, hey, you know what? We just don't fucking want you to do that, asshole. Mm-hmm. How do we get the government to realize this shit? I mean, we have greedy bastards in our government that they want to go out, they want to rape these countries for their resources that don't belong to us, that we shouldn't have.
Mm-hmm. Well,
I hate that.
I do too. Normally I would say, yeah, call your Congress people, but in the case of the mother of all bombs, Congress was not alerted. And that's the thing. Trump has given all of the power to the military leaders. So we have nothing. We have no conduit at this point because we don't have the ear of the military. So even if we call our congressmen and women, they can't do anything because they're not privy to this stuff until after it happens. And
I find that absolutely abhorrent.
It is deplorable.
I find it because as a veteran, I know the commander-in-chief's power. Mm-hmm. as a military veteran. I know I have to do what my commander-in-chief tells me, or I have to there is a very fine line I have to walk as a military member.
Right.
You are bound to protect the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
Who's our enemy?
How do you classify your commander-in-chief as a domestic terrorist and refuse to do what they tell you? That's it. That's the end of your life. And if you are of no importance, Your arrest will get no publicity. It will do absolutely nothing for you. So it's
Except for ruin your life.
only for your moral good that you know you did not participate actively in that atrocity.
And that's the thing. All right. I always hear, you should not follow an illegal order. And that's wonderful. That's great. That's true. But if you are ET3, and you still have ET1 ahead of you and ET2 ahead of you and Chief ET and all that stuff, and you say, no, I'm not going to follow that, that's illegal, your chief is going to tell you to F the F off and do what you're told. It's going to be very difficult for you to defy an order, and you may end up just being court-martialed and being dishonorably discharged or thrown into a jail, and no one will ever know that you followed your heart and did the right thing. And the only one who's hurt is you.
That's very true. But say that tomorrow North Korea decides, fuck it, we're going to test that nuclear weapon no matter what the United States is going to do.
Yeah.
Test that nuclear weapon. And Trump says, we warned you, little bastards. We're coming to get you. And he orders those ships to go up there and let loose. And fire controlman, question mark.
Poor FC3 dude, or FCCN or whatever.
Yeah, poor FC question mark says, you know what? We don't have the backing of the other people, so I'm going to have to say no.
Right.
The captain of the ship, because we have declared war, has the right to take FC question mark up on the deck, shoot him in the head, and toss him over the side of the ship.
And we may never know any different.
Yeah, if you're in a time of war, that's it.
The captain has the rule.
You're erased. You're
right.
You don't even get a freaking court-martial in a time of war. You can just be gotten out of the way.
Right. I remember I dated someone in the Navy, and he got brought in front of the captain. I forgot what it was called. It wasn't a court-martial.
Captain's mast.
Captain's mast. Yeah, he went to captain's mast, and he got he had to stay at the base for 2 weeks, restriction, and he lost half of his pay for a few months. So the captain, they are the law. I mean, on their ship, they are the law. So it's very hard for ET3 or FC3 or whatever to make a stand, because you've got all these layers above you who will just stomp you out.
Well, it's very difficult, even when you're acting in the good of your own ship.
Mm-hmm.
When I was responsible for security on the quarterdeck, we're in a safe base, but an alert had been called. So I decided on the quarterdeck, as part of security, I was going to check everyone, no matter who they were.
Yeah.
And the Marine commander came on board.
And you did it anyway.
I saluted and I said, "Good morning, sir. I'm going to have to check your bag, please." And the chief behind me just lost his freaking mind. Don't you know who this is? And blah, blah, blah. And I had to defend myself.
Yeah.
I said, I understand. But if the commander has put his bag down for 3 seconds, anywhere, even to get coffee, and he puts it down and he's digging in his pocket, he's giving the person, and somebody puts something in his bag, I'm the very last line of defense that says, hey, there's something
and
that's
you
not
are
right
the one
in
who will be blamed. You are the one who will be blamed.
So you have to be willing to defend your actions.
Right.
But you're going to have to know the consequences, because
tough.
I easily could have gotten written up for that. I could have gotten written up. I could have been sent to captain's mast for disrespect. So these are the consequences that each and every single person who is in the military is facing right now at this moment.
Right.
What
these decisions?
What are you going to do? Do you know what an illegal order is? Do you know the political environment? Do you care? Or are you just gonna push the button?
Are you just gonna, follow orders? Which we saw in World War II. That was part of it. People said, well, we were just following orders. No, you gassed 6 million Jews. That's not just following orders. You made a decision at that point.
Yeah.
So even
if you have the capacity to understand those orders,
mm-hmm.
you should have the capacity to contemplate the consequences of those orders being carried out.
Right. You have the responsibility to understand what you're doing, your part in it.
Yeah. Just as we are learning the consequences of electing President Trump.
Right. And they got annoyed at me at work because I was saying we dropped a bomb, we blah, blah, blah. And they're like, I didn't do it. And I'm like,
yeah, you're part of the United States. Hello.
You know what? We could sit here all day and talk about it. I didn't vote for Trump. I'm sure you didn't vote for Trump, but the world sees it as us.
Yes.
The world will judge us. And if I ever go to Europe, I'm saying I'm Canadian.
Oh.
Everyone. I will bring Moosehead beer for everybody.
Moosehead beer for everybody.
I will. And I will be Canadian. And I will say resources instead of resources.
Well, I think we've smushed war into little tiny particles, and our listeners probably want us to move on a little bit.
I'm sure they're ready, and actually I've drank my beer. I have half of it, but I do have another whole bottle of something. So, oh, I do too. But before we change subjects now, Doctor Who starts at 9:00. This isn't one of those things where probably someone would say, but this is much more important than Doctor Who. Well, this will still be here.
Doctor Who.
It's Doctor Who. I know it starts. So at 9:00, I do need to flit off and turn on Doctor Who and live tweet that. So do we still want to talk for maybe 20 more minutes?
Yeah, for about 20 more minutes. We can do the the a little more lighthearted stuff.
That's good. In that case,
I think the current events, we've really hashed through the current events.
I think so, and
I feel a little better.
I do too. I feel like we've done our civic duty. We've talked about it and explained our position. Well, in that case, is it okay if I go pop off for just a minute and get another beer?
Absolutely, because I'm going to talk about the cute. Go ahead. I'm gonna talk about the cutest thing in the entire world.
That's awesome. All right, I'll be back in a minute.
I'm going to white box myself. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the big announcement that you have all been waiting for weeks and weeks and weeks. Oh my goodness, Linda, what do you mean? You've been waiting for this for weeks and weeks and weeks. April had her baby. Finally, this bloody giraffe that we've been waiting for, longer than weeks. It's been months. April had a little boy giraffe at about, 10 a.m. Eastern. I believe this is Eastern time. 10 a.m. Eastern time. April actually gave birth. She started labor at about 7 a.m. It took her about 3 hours, which is pretty good for an adult female giraffe. April's baby. Hello, April's baby, little male giraffe.
Sweet baby.
And I did see the baby giraffe on live YouTube.
Oh, good.
Super adorable. Great pattern.
So cute.
And April is such a good mom.
Looks like it. She looks very attentive.
She walks over every once in a while and she gives them a lick and.
Aww. Now, do we know yet if it's a boy or a girl? Last time
it's definitely a male. Definitely a male.
Okay.
Which I'm actually pretty glad about. I think this would be this a male will be very valuable to our domestic breeding program,
Good.
which should fingers crossed
Mm-hmm.
start regularly adding to the African population in the next 10 to 15 years.
Good. I'm glad.
Which would be great. Now, I wish we could. I wish we could have as much success with the rhino breeding programs,
Yeah.
given that we have lost several species of rhinos.
That's horrible.
We are also down to 3 super tusker elephants
Oh no.
in the entire world.
Oh, that's horrible.
Satao was poached, although his poachers were caught.
Good.
He was killed before they could stop them.
That's horrible.
So hopefully we can keep those 3 super tuskers alive, and maybe we can bring the super tuskers back. I don't
I
know.
hope so. Now, are those related? So would it be an inbreeding situation, or are they different stock?
No, I believe those super tuskers are actually in different parks.
Good.
If you don't know what a super tusker elephant is, a super tusker elephant is an elephant with that grows super long, to think mammoth type tusks.
Wow. Okay.
And they grow those, very regularly throughout the whole family. So
Okay.
we need those genes to continue. Those are some of the biggest and the healthiest elephants.
Nice.
So, if we ever decide to go to another planet, I'd like to take a super tusker. That'd be great.
That would be cool. I'd love that. We could ride them.
Absolutely nothing to do with my book, Eclectic Reflections of Nothing. Eclectic Reflections of Now.
Just a coincidence.
Just a coincidence that, talking about taking elephants to another planet.
I knew you had an ulterior motive. I could sense it.
But seriously, April's baby is very, very cute and very, very, apparently from what we know, very, very healthy.
Good. That's wonderful. I know in our zoo, in the Jacksonville Zoo, we lost a giraffe recently.
Oh, I heard about that. Oh, sad.
One of our giraffes died, so maybe this adds to the population. So hopefully this makes up a little bit for the one we lost.
Well, I know you have news.
Are we talking about Green Ronin?
Yes.
This may be something for us, actually. I always thought that I would be a good RPG writer. And I actually did submit for an RPG game once, but I didn't get it. If you go to greenronin.com, and Ronin is spelled Ronin, this is an RPG gaming company, and they are having a campaign to get a new writer, and they specifically want someone who identifies as female. And I like that they say someone who identifies as female, because that includes transgender people. And they say, don't.
Yeah.
I know. I think it's awesome. I want to do this because I always thought I'd be good at writing RPGs. I mean, it's text. It's not like a video game. You don't have to code or anything. It's just text. So I always thought I'd be good. It's dark fantasy.
Dark fantasy. Well, I mean, I could do that. I can do that.
I can definitely do that. So they specifically...
Have you ever actually thought about writing an RPG? I mean,
yeah,
played them.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so I run an email RPG.
Okay.
But it's strictly email, and it's definitely not, it's not dice based or anything like that.
And not like glossy illustrated instructions or anything.
No glossy illustrated illustrations or anything like that. It's called End of the World.
Okay.
It's a post-apocalyptic RPG.
Okay.
But dark fantasy is, what exactly is dark fantasy? How would you describe it?
It could be a lot of things. It could be urban fantasy. post-apocalyptic. It could be like dark magic. It could be a lot of things, really. I think of like paranormal. Anything that's not strictly like swords and sorcery. I think of it, yeah. So it can really be a lot of things. We'd have to look more and see what they think it is. I mean, what are they expecting?
It looks like they have card games on Green Ronin Publishing
Nice.
too.
I like card games.
Fantasy Ace, Lost Citadel, A Song of Ice and Fire role playing. Wait,
Whoa! They have.
Are they into that? Do they have? Oh, they have Pathfinder. Green Ronin has Pathfinder.
Nice. I'm looking. I want to see if they have like a list of everything they do.
Yes, it is a Game of Thrones RPG.
Yes, we should do that sometime. We should buy it and do it through Google Hangouts. That would be cool.
Would be amazing.
I would love that. I bet the guys would like that too. We should see if that'd be something they'd be into. And one of the things about this company, I'm looking, it's co-owned by Nicole Lindrus. And she's been in the gaming industry since 1989. She co-founded...
So it's co-owned by a woman.
By a woman, yeah.
Good,
so
yeah.
I love that. I love supporting women. That makes me feel very good. Yeah, I want to look into this. I mean, they said they're only looking for one person at this point, but they hope to be they hope
they're going to get a lot of applications.
They're going to get a lot of submissions, and they say they're hoping to look for other additional talent. So even if you don't make the one cut, you still might be looked at for other stuff. So the one thing to think about is if you do win, I think they expect you to like really go work for them. So I would have to look and see, like, do they mean like physically where they are? Is this something that, you know, you can do from home? Do they have benefits?
Yeah, I really wouldn't want to like move somewhere.
Me
because
neither.
I kind of want to go all around the world if I can.
Yeah.
Official rules and guidelines for the talent search will be posted separately.
Well, it says they're going to start accepting commissions on the 17th. That's Monday.
Yeah.
So it should be posted soon.
Well,
so I just want to know. I mean, I would love to be like a contractor. I'm in no position to move anywhere. And I'm not quite ready to give up my full-time job because I have a mother to take care of. And she uses a lot of expensive products. So,
well, we cannot begrudge those who we take care of. They're,
she needs them. I'm not saying she doesn't need them. They're just really expensive. So I'm not
going to use the classic Irish, phrase because that's not what we're talking about.
Yeah, I just have a lot of considerations before I can just willy-nilly like take
I don't see any reason why you wouldn't be able to work from home.
I would hope so. I would have to look into, like, if you win this thing, are you on their payroll or is it just one contract job? Because I don't want to give...
It looks like if they're looking for talent, it looks like it looks like a project. So they're going to pay you for at least one project.
Okay. Now, like, if it's something I could do in addition to my full-time job, I would be on board. I'm not in a position where I could quit my full-time job for one contract that might end in a few months. I'm just not in that position.
Ultimately, one woman will be chosen to write for the Lost Citadel RPG under developer C.A. Suleiman, and as part of a paid contract.
Good. Okay. It's still just one contract, though. I mean, it could be a few months. It could be a few years.
Yeah, but they could have they could find other talented women as well,
Right.
and then give them a shot at, you know, publicizing them.
And it could lead to get better things and bigger things. Not better, we'll say bigger. And see, one of my things is I would love to get into a position where, even if, like, okay, my writing is not paying at all right now.
Uh-huh.
So it would be nice if I could get into a position where I do have at least one part of my life that is paying something. That's not my current job. And so even if I could have one part that's paying, that would help. And maybe I could cobble together an income from that.
Yeah. That would be, I mean, that would be super helpful for a lot of us who are women and writers and having to deal with finances. And
it's hard.
Because, you know, we all, I mean, as children, a lot of us may have thought, oh, I'm going to work for DC, or I'm going to go work for Marvel. And the women who actually did make it there found the reality was extremely difficult.
Right. Always in battle.
Having to compete in that was very difficult. And then a lot of us found that attempting to start our own projects like you and I are doing, that's also very difficult, because getting the publicizing, getting people to even know that you are there is so vastly difficult. So having a major, the Green Ronin is definitely major.
Yes.
Major.
I like that.
Specifically for female talent. That's a wonderful thing.
I definitely like that. I'm very happy to support other female artists. And it's awesome that they're giving chances to women who have not gotten the foothold yet. Because it's really hard. Even after you get a foothold, it's hard because there's so much resistance from all sides. There are people who resent that you're a woman, people who think, well, you're a woman, you can't be that smart. People who think you're a woman, well, you know, what can you do for me? You know, there are just so many horrible attitudes that women have to deal with. And I like the idea that this is at least partially female run, and they're looking specifically for females. And before someone says, well, that's sexist, they said they're also going to have opportunities for men later. So settle down your haunches, men. Settle down those haunches.
Well, the last thing I think I can see on here is something you posted from Mary Sue. That
I love Mary Sue.
Oh my goodness, this looks really adorable.
Which one is it?
The Sean Spicer.
Oh my God.
The title of it is "The Internet Making Sean Spicer Defend Movie Villains is the best thing about Sean Spicer."
It is. It's awesome. And when you look at them, you're like, I can see him doing that. And if anyone wants to know why Sean Spicer is such a D-bag, he says the most ridiculous things. For instance, this week he said, Assad's worse than Hitler because at least Hitler didn't gas his people. First of all, no one's worse than Hitler. Don't even do it. No one's worse than Hitler. And Hitler did gas his people.
Yes.
So why don't we screen share this so people can see all the tweets that people have made? This was basically calling out to Twitter to make your own tweet showing how Sean Spicer would defend a movie villain. Or do you want me to square share? Screen? Okay. Square share, screen. What's wrong with me?
Share.
Screen share. I can't talk. All right, so we've got Batman and Superman, and Twitterer Ken Leandra said, "Visionary billionaire fights off dangerous undocumented alien." So that's how Sean Spicer would spin Batman versus Superman. And you want to read it out?
I can't remember her name.
Sarah Connor.
Sarah Connor, nasty woman, joins radical Muslim terrorist group to undermine lawful rule of robots, making America great again.
Right, the robots have the lawful rule. We should obey. They're in charge. All right, and that was from... Oh, yeah. All right, Star Wars. This is Max the Knife with 3 X's. For Star Wars, he said, the real story here is that previous administration officials are stealing and leaking classified info to terrorism. Yep. There's a lot of rebels there who are, leaking classified information about the Death Star plans.
And apologies, the last one was from the Ken Leandra.
And the Terminator one was at decadent_creed.
Oh yeah.
And okay, someone just said, "Oh, I'm loving the Spicer Spins movie plots." You want to do the next Star Wars one? Indiana Jones. I missed Indiana Jones. I'm sorry. Above that is Indiana Jones. It just doesn't have a picture.
Is that Indiana Jones? Oh, I was looking at. I thought this was The Lion King.
Oh, we missed The Lion King?
Yeah, at Raodefyani. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce it. Rao Devyani said Scar was not present at the stampede. Mufasa caused it, and his recklessness got him killed. Period.
I missed that one.
It looks like it's actually a video. It might be a video if you go to themarysue.com/Sean Spicer a movie.
And there's some dashes there. I would say just look up Sean Spicer a movie. There are a lot of good tweets that people put. I wonder if this was from April 5th, so I guess it's not really still ongoing. I wish I'd known about this when it started because I would have done something.
Oh yes, this one. Which the Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
At cat_guy_Steve. Liberal elitist professor Indiana Jones prevents great leader from using the Ark to make his country great again.
Yeah. So and that actually makes perfect sense because in the 4th movie there are Nazis. And then we had another Star Wars one. At House of the Dread said about Luke Skywalker, this kid was radicalized by a dangerous cleric and blew up a military installation. We need a Jedi ban. No Jedi are allowed in the country at all.
I think we should go as far as to say Jedi need to be rounded up.
I think so. They need to be
these rogue Jedi and
Should I? Okay, I'm going to say this. I hope this doesn't land wrong. Perhaps we should put them in Holocaust centers.
We need a rebel wall.
Right. We need a rebel wall. Keep the Jedis out. Although they're Jedi, so I think they can get around the wall. I think they can probably go through it and up around it and under it.
Then we need some type of laser. Maybe sharks with lasers.
Oh, I love it. Austin Powers reference. Sharks with lasers. That defeats everything.
Yep. Well, it is
3 minutes till. I've got to go live tweet Doctor Who season 10 premiere. Yay! The introduction of Bill, the first gay, I was going to say lesbian, but the first any kind of LBGT type companion in the Doctor Who universe.
Yep.
So this is very exciting.
This has been a very excellent conversation. I'm so glad that you could come over and talk to me.
Me too. I appreciate it.
And if you'd like to support us, please do consider going to Good Vibrations. You can find the links in our show notes on lolalaracy.com and on sorceresszero.com/podcast. you can find links there. And where else can people find you, Lola?
At Lola Laracy on Twitter, and Laracy is spelled Larcy. Google Plus, my website, lolalaracy.com, though I don't go there as nearly as much as I should, considering I pay $100 and something a year for it. So basically, I'm around, I'm here, and I'm always ready to talk.
And you can find me anywhere. You can type in S0RCERESS0. That's Sorceress Zero, sorceress0.com, on Google Plus, on Facebook, on Twitter, and in your inbox. Thank you for joining us. This has been Very Good Entertainment number 21. We hope that you will join us again next time. Bye.
Bye.